A very good morning to you, and welcome back. We are, hold on, wait a minute, Wednesday the 30th of July 2025. Yesterday was dire, mate. Oh my god, talk about flipping rain. Look at it now. Clear skies, but yeah, this is what it was like yesterday. Not that great. It's given the grounds a good soaking, which is good. But nevertheless, you know what I do? The trails. Yes, one already. Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh look, what's this? Hello. Who are you? Easy. Easy, Nick. Easy. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Oh, it's given up a trail. Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what. Because it's given off a decent trail in the same area as the other trail, let's track the aircraft and let's track the humidity. So that aircraft right there, that's given that one at the bottom, that one there. This is the aircraft and it's travelling at 37,000 feet. Yes, okay, so that's at the perfect altitude for where the trail was to be formed or sprayed, whatever. And it's going from Boston to Frankfurt. And it is that flight there, so it is a commercial airline. That's just flown over and it's given off that trail right there. The one above that, I'm not too sure. Well, I've just marked out the one before that, and that's going from New York to Frankfurt, and that's travelling at 38,000 feet. So those two trails are basically at the altitude for where the persistent trails to form will be sprayed. And before we do anything else, let's look at the humidity. Right, here is the base level of 30,000 feet. And you can see I've clicked on humidity right here. Let's go back and have a look what we have so far. Everything is 100%. Looks like 100%. I'm going to take a screenshot so we can put it on screen so you can see. It's kind of hard to tell actually because the sun's in my eyes. Some places actually look 100%. Yeah, you are looking in some areas in 100% percentage. As you can see the colorization here. I'm really sorry, it's really sketchy. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so my estimates through the screenshot here, we are looking at humidity level of 100%, which is obviously taken at the base level of 30,000 feet. Those trails were taken at 37, something like that. So it's around the base level of that. So we are talking about 100% humidity. As the trails are forming at 30,000 feet, that is an indication of pocket of humidity in that area. There we go, you see. So okay, where I am at the moment, yes, it's around about 100%. You can see by the percentage right there, the colour of it, and we've got trails. Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So if that humidity increases, maybe, just maybe, might see more trails. But look, it's clear at the moment. We are early stages yet, guys. Early stages. Now, who in the chemtrail community does that? What I do. See a little trail forming there? What if we get a big, fat, whopping one? Anyway, right. I'll pop back in a bit. If I see a trail, I'll come running out, screaming like a little girl. Right, see you in a bit. Oh my god. Right, a second has gone past, and you wouldn't believe this. Look. Do. We have another aircraft. Who are you, mate? Who the bloody hell are you? And what are you spraying above my area? Shut up, mate. Right, let's have a look. What aircraft is this? Right, that plane about to fly over is from Chicago to Dubai. You can see it right here in the distance, and it's travelling at 35,000 feet. And I'm going to put that on screen just to show you what aircraft this is. It's that. So I'm going to zoom in and have a look whether or not it's the same aircraft to capture it. Oh, there it is. Look, there it is. Let's have a look. Is it that aircraft? Put the screenshot on. I think it is. Yes, it is the aircraft. Oh, no, it's not giving off a persistent trail. Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah, kind of is, actually. In that immediate area where the other 3 trails are, just over there behind the trees. Okay, well, look, there's a sign. Okay, look, mainstream media explanation. I've just tracked the humidity in that area of 30,000 feet. These planes are travelling thereof between 30,000 feet and 40,000 feet. And the percentage is 100%, which is enough for trails to form. Now, it's not persistent in my whole entire area, but bear in mind, you need to ask yourself this question. If those 3 aircraft which were obviously commercial, because I just tracked the aircraft, and I'm not jumping to the conclusion that it's been sprayed on purpose because it hasn't really done anything. Look, see what I mean? One can say, oh, it's the start of the spraying program as well. Look, you just jump to conclusions here. Is it going to affect the weather? Is it going to block out the sun? Those are the results that I'm looking for. I'm not really seeing it. Anyways, early stages. But you see where I come from, okay, through the analysis that I do. Humidity, track the aircraft. Do the trails actually block out the sun? How persistent do they last throughout the day? Is it enough to actually combat climate change? Those are the questions I ask myself. And every single one of them, I say, no. How about no? Anyway, I'm rambling. Right, I'll catch you in a bit. Oh, hello. I'm back. Oh, that dragonfly. Look at that. See that dragonfly? Whee! Okay, anyway. So far, bit of a mixed bag, but we do have this lengthy trail. Yeah, it's definitely a trail, not a cirrus. And so far, pretty clouded over, which was to be expected. The humidity, did it play a factor on the trails? Not really. This is a tricky thing with how humidity moves. And there's just like a little GIF I can find just to show you an example of how humidity moves. And it moves in like different layers of the atmosphere. So it might be in the base level between 30,000 and 35,000 feet, maybe 30,000 to 40,000 feet, or 25,000 to 35,000 feet. You just really don't know at this point until you actually, well, you kind of do if you actually rely on the windy.com app that I've been using. There's that dragonfly again. Can not see it. There it is. Look, it's got a flipping alien, mate. So yeah, this is all part of the experiment, isn't it? Really. Let's put what the mainstream media is saying and compare that to the chemtrail community. So I'm chasing dragonflies at the moment. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, mixed bag at the moment. It's a mixed bag. We've got a bit of cirrus. Cirrocumulus, we've got dragonfly. Can you not see it? Oh, dragonfly. Enough dragonfly talk. I'll see you in a bit, me old cock. Hello. Coming up to around about. Hold on, I find out what time is. Time is nearly coming up to 2:30, me old cock. And there's been a lot of cirrus, as you can see here. I have a bit of cirrus. Neighbours cutting their lawn. I think I need to cut mine too. And yeah, there we go so far. It's very mixed bag. Alright, I'm back. It's past 6:30 in the evening. And there's some trails in the sky, just a couple. Got some cirrus. Cumulus. And some trails. Should we try and track the trails and see what they are? Righty tight. So the first aircraft that went past, I think this might have been the second one, is United Airlines from London to New York. It's travelling at 32,000 feet. And going ahead to here is another United Airlines London to New York, travelling at 32,000 feet. So yes, those are the 2 trails that go over that persistent trail. See if anything else that might come up as well at the meantime. So I have to say, maybe that one. No. Maybe that one. Oh, maybe that one might do if it's travelling high enough. It's at 13,000 feet and climbing. So we'll see what happens. Look at that. As I'm filming, pretty fly. So look, what we got here then? Okay, can't see any nozzles. Easy, Nick. Easy. Oh, right, so that trail so far, done that. Let's move the camera out of the way. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's coming from the engines. I can't see any spray nozzle whatsoever. And it is done. Right, maybe that aircraft travelling from London to New York might be there. So yeah, it's given off that there. So I think it might have been that one there actually. London to Austin, British Airways. Seems to be more likely. There's another one that's coming up in a moment, which would be that one there, which is from London to New York. Bear in mind the altitude is a bit lower. Yeah, it's not giving off a persistent trail. It kind of looks like it, but it is in that immediate area. So yeah, I've got some trails forming in the evening once again. Lighty tights, I am back. We're in the evening. Oh, what time is it? I think we are 9:10 in the evening. And so far this day has been a mixed bag. I thought it would be traily. There have been no excess of trails for the remainder of the day. It's been alright actually. Well, actually, before I say that, let's just review the time lapse to see what it's actually like. Because there might have been more trails than I thought, but then I saw a lot of cirrus. But anyway, a short video, but let's look at the time lapse. It's that time once again on this 30th of July 2025. Man, isn't this year going so fast? And a crazy year that it is. So let's have a look. Let's see what we can find. Was there more trails than they were in the evening? Because bear in mind, I can't watch the skies 24/7. Like I said, this is what I got the camera for. So we obviously have the cumulus, stratocumulus, the high altitude cloud, which is obviously, excuse me, it's a blend of cirrocumulus and a bit of cirrus in there as well. So we can see here, not the bubbly clouds that are forming at this lower level of the atmosphere. You can see this high altitude cloud, which is obviously cirrus. It's making like a very small halo, like a 22-degree halo, and that is a very common occurrence with, and this is what's called cirrostratus. Very high altitude clouds where cirrus is forming. It's around about 20,000 feet. And what we're seeing here, this cloud is around about, could be up to like 6 to even like 10,000 feet. There we go. So you can see the two. It's making just a very slight halo. I can't see any trails whatsoever. Check this out. Looks like cirrocumulus. This is the trails I was seeing. There we go. Let's see what they actually do in this. I mean, at this time period, yeah, they spread out, but it's not enough to really block out the sun. Like I keep saying over and over again, look, you got trails, and right here you got cirrus. And this cirrus is a naturally formed cloud. And like I keep saying, is the trails are forming in the same altitude as the cirrus, which is basically where the planes are flying, is over 30,000 feet. So you find cirrus, you're going to get trails forming. You can see like the white haze, just very slight, and then we've got the, obviously, the cumulus coming in. Let's just go back, because I think this is really important to analyze what we're seeing here. Okay, we've gone from clear blue sky, and then eventually we have this cloud forming. So that's a sign that there is moisture in the atmosphere in that area, and eventually it flows. You can see it traveling. And remember that GIF I just showed you, where how humidity flows, and it's exactly the same how clouds are formed. Look, you can see it actually, it does move, it forms, but eventually it goes more to the left as it's traveling. And this same goes for the high altitude cloud. So don't look at this. When you look above this, you will find the cirrus. And once you see the cirrus in that immediate area of the cirrus, the trails are forming. And that's a sign that there is moisture in the atmosphere. Is this going to block out the sun? No, the sun's down here. It's in the evening, or more or less coming into the evening. Is this going to poison me? Doubt it very much, because the biggest impact of when a trail is going to do its worst is when it's spread out. This is just the early stages of it. So by the time this has gone past, all those toxic chemicals, so to speak, have now gone somewhere else. But bear in mind, you don't know where the jet stream is going. You know, this is it. You're not mapping out where the toxic chemicals are going. You're just assuming. And I'm really battling between the two, where I'm going, look, this trails are doing sod all. It's not going to change the weather. It's just a sign that there's moisture in the atmosphere. Look, this is like dissipating. But I will see these trails being posted on a chemtrail Facebook page and going, oh no, they're blocking out the sun. Toxic chemicals, aluminium, barium, strontium. It's like, whoa, like, I think this is just probably water vapor. And I can pull up a bunch of photographs here from back in the day that shows these same trails. I've really just, what is going on? I mean, there we go. See, we've got the cirrus and we've got the trails forming in that area. And I've got so much video footage of this. And from my observation, looking at the science going back to the 1940s, is the same science that is today. It's just that people in the chemtrail community just don't believe in science. They're anti-science. It's like, do you believe that the Earth is round? Yeah. Well, there's a mainstream science to that, and that's a very mainstream science. I just don't get people, man. I don't know. I think everyone in the chemtrail community is just riding the wave, this fear mongering wave. I mean, the trails you can see today did absolutely sod all. They did nothing. Didn't change the weather. So there we have it. On the 30th of July 2025, did the trails block out the sun? No, of course it didn't. And this is a very reoccurring thing, and I've got plenty of video footage to back this up, that the fact when you see cirrus, you're going to find trails forming in that area, because you need to understand why these clouds are forming in the first place. And that is obviously an indication of moisture rising up in interaction with the cold atmosphere, which is cloud nuclei, and that's how technically how clouds are formed. So if there's a sign there's moisture in the atmosphere in that immediate area, you know, especially with the cirrus, you know that trails are going to be formed. And I keep seeing it over and over again. And that's just not coincidence saying, oh, that's just been sprayed on purpose in that area. And I do believe now that that's just water vapor. I think there's nothing more than just water vapor. Because if you just do a bit of research, you can actually find out. I'm going to put some photographs right here. Even from the 1970s, you can see these trails forming. You know, it's not there to change the weather. It's just, that's just assumption. But again, I look at both sides of the story, and I'm going to be honest, the other side, which is the mainstream side, kind of makes more sense, because I'm actually applying what they're saying. I'm actually seeing it in the sky. But with the chemtrail community, it's like, no, that's been sprayed on purpose. While I'm zooming in and I can't see any nozzles on these aircraft, I see what these trails actually do. Blocking out the sun, no. Does it change the weather? No. So the whole aspect of what they're saying makes no sense. And this is why I look into the mainstream media aspect, which is one side that the chemtrail community will not look at. They just immediately dismiss it. But here, you're going to get a realistic perspective on what we're actually seeing in the sky. And again, I keep saying not denying chemtrails, but at the same time, I think what we're seeing in the sky is most likely water vapor. And that's just my opinion through analysis that I've been doing. And if you're offended by that, that's a bit of a you problem. Anyway, me rambling. I shall see you soon on the Cosmic Twilight on YouTube and Investigate with Nick on Rumble. I shall see you very soon.